Alrighty, crew. Hey, it's Charlie here with Dads Do It. I wanted to get a chance to introduce you to my river table. This project was one of the most fun ones I've ever done in the wood shop. It was awesome. I've never done anything like it before, but there are a ton of YouTube videos out there that can help you build these. This one will be one of them. I'm not going to have as much detail as some, but I will have some of the problems that I did run into as a new to epoxy and river table craftsman. I think it's important to get that insight. What you'll notice is we are starting off almost in the middle of this process. We did not have our camera running for the form making process or the epoxy pouring process. There's many other YouTubers and other people that are putting out content that shows you how to do this. Jeff Mack is my favorite, so that would be one I would direct you to for sure, but there's a ton out there. So what you're seeing in the background is actually the sanding process after I get some of the epoxy knocked down, but I will show you some of the other process, like how to make a do-it-yourself track saw, and how to utilize that while you're creating your epoxy resin table to cut your table down to size without having to spend a small fortune on a track saw. This is my setup that I used for my DIY track saw. I guess really it's just my circular saw with a fence, but it works just like a track saw would. The first step in making this work is finding a piece of melamine or a piece of plywood, even a 2x4 that has a very straight, flat edge that you can use as an edge guide for your circular saw. Next, you're going to want to measure and see how the offset of your circular saw and the track will work together and how much you want to take off your table. For my purposes, I took a thin sliver off the edge just to clean up the edge. It wasn't to get it down to dimension, but this will make sure my edge is super clean. Once you have the one side measured, you can utilize that after you use your clamp to clamp down that side as a pivot point for your other side to get that perfectly straight. One thing as you're using this method, know that your track is only as good as your measurements and your setup. The cutting's the easy part. Also, if you are going to cut through your epoxy river, it cuts just fine with the same saw blade you'll use for your hardwood that you're building your table out of.
She's beautiful, enough to pack a day. Wait, that's me in any way. Anything about that, hey. Things are beautiful. Meet Virginia. Alright guys, now I'm going to be knocking down this extra epoxy and trying to get the tabletop knocked down a little bit so we can get started on using some grits and really get this thing super smooth, glass clean, and looking beautiful. So this will take me a minute. We're gonna try out some 80 grit first. Might even have to bump back to 40 to knock this epoxy down over here. It's looking pretty rough. So we'll try that out first.
This is when I realized that sanding would just take entirely too long. So I tried some alternative methods. The few ways I found were using a chisel. One was using a putty knife that you heat up with a torch of some sort, or a heat gun. And then the last way was to use a hand plane. I tried each of these. The putty knife heated up actually worked the best out of all of them. The hand plane worked great for smaller areas that need to be knocked down and for thinner areas, but when it came to the really thick spots, the putty knife definitely reigned supreme. I do not suggest using the chisel, as that can get away from you pretty quick and can make ruts, scratches, dents in your table pretty easy if you're not careful. Now on to the epic saga of sanding that is to come. I stair-stepped my grits from 80 all the way up to 220. I wanted the final finish on this project to be a very fine furniture finish, and the Rubio Monocoat doesn't bond much past the 220 to 260 mark, so it was right in the wheelhouse of what I needed. Part of the sanding process that I use for fine finishes like this is water popping. I water pop up to 180 grit. The process of water popping helps to raise the grains in between sanding to make it easier to knock it down and create a smooth surface. Alrighty guys, how's it going? Charlie again from Dad's Do It. We've got our table we can look at. So if you look at this guy, that is perfection. It is sanded down to a beautiful 220 grit, ready for finish. And Rubio Monocoat, one of the cool things about that guy is all I have to do is sand this epoxy down to the same level that I wanted my wood, and it'll actually fill in the gaps in there, any of the little voids or misses, and it's going to give us a clean cut finish, which I am so excited about. So I'm mixing my Rubio oil. And I'm using syringes, just got them on Amazon, but that'll be really easy to get up the amount of units I want. This second smaller can that I'm opening is the hardener. You do 3 parts of the oil base to 1 part of the hardener. We'll see if this spreads enough for us. So I've got it mixed up in this little cup here. From Dad's Do It again. Hey, we're about to get started on getting these legs together. I had to go get some smaller pipe, so I went ahead and did 3-inch on here. Since our table's about 30 inches, I thought that the 6 would be close enough, but actually I think this 3 is going to be right where we need it. So we're going to check this out and test it out on here and see what we can figure out, okay? guys, I'll show you what I'm setting up here. So this is an important step. We're going to be putting these inserts into this wood. One thing that a lot of people kind of probably haven't seen that I found somebody on YouTube had it actually, but these nuts, if you just use the screw that you're using, put a nut on it and make them lock up, then you can actually get this into the wood really easy. And I'm going to tape off my bit where it needs to be for the depth of my screw. I want to give a little extra cushion here. I'm going to go ahead and make all our pilot holes first. Very important to make sure that the drill is straight up and down. Whoa! Hey guys, so if you see my desk, not great at all. So what we're going to be trying to do is we're going to get that guy put on its legs today, hopefully. So one of the coolest things with using pipe legs is that you got to clean them. So we're going to try and get that done. So let's see if we can get to that. It should be pretty interesting. So I don't have a great workspace here at home to get this done in, and there's probably going to be some fun dust. I'm going to try something a little unique and maybe sand these with my orbital sander. So we're going to see how it goes. All right, let's do it. Now that I see the sanding is working great, for this step I took a box cutter and I used that to cut off the stickers that were left on it from the big box store that I bought them from. To get some of the sticky residue off from the stickers that were on the pipe, I used acetone to rub that off more easily. Alright guys, we are done sanding. So you can see it's got a pretty slick look. We're going to try and test paint. I've already put one coat of black on this. I'm going to try and use these other paints and kind of layer them. See if we can get a really cool effect. So, where's the wife? Oh, she ate her Happy Meal. Okay.
Yes, I did.
Good.
That's wonderful.
In between, this is what I get to do. So there's my project, waiting for paint to dry, and Now my wife wants me to get the laundry out. Ugh. The worst. Alrighty guys. Hey, so we've got our little project area we're working on. And I threw this, since this is all finished, I threw the top down on a blanket here, but we have this surge protector that we had bought off of Amazon for our new computer when I built the new computer, and now we're trying to get it connected on here. So I went ahead and used the same anchors like we did originally, so but I used a little bit smaller because it didn't want to fit in the back here. If you look, I bored it out a little bit more and put a little angle on it, so then when it gets hooked in there, it'll stay better. Now the only trouble I think we'll ever run into with these is if we ever need a new surge protector, which these things last for a long time, that'll be way down the road. It'll probably be a different distance apart. So I'm trying to get this guy on here. There we go. It's a nice snug fit. And it's locked on there. Look at that. It's a perfect fit. So, it looks great.